I woke up the next morning seriously hungover, so I went hunting for breakfast after Nemmy didn't have as great luck as I did. I managed to get us some food, but unfortunately, Nemmy burned it. So we ate a bountiful breakfast of dandelions. After that, we moved on all through the next day, and the day after that, we actually came across the Briarfog Estate, where we witnessed a woman in distress on the second floor. All of us really did want to help her, so we managed to get in, but Nemmy alerted whatever had occupied the house to our presence. So a specter appeared and tried to hurt her companion Waffles, who had tumbled out of Nemmy's satchel. I distracted it, and for a moment, you could feel the seething anger, but it was calm, and I could still sense that it wanted to hurt us. So I drew my rapier and attacked it, but somehow Vesper managed to talk it down. After mentioning the mistress of the estate, Agnis, we saw its true visage, not the rotted corpse it had become, and he stepped away, disappearing into the ether. Tulip was determined to rescue Agnis, the savior of her people, so we started to ascend the stairs, relatively quietly, but Vesper's armor and poor rogue skills probably alerted any other malevolent presence.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Maidens of Mayhem podcast. My name is Gabby. I will be your DM. I still have Halloween dice that I purchased from Kraken with the intention of sanding down and painting because they were the raw sets. I bought all of them, all but one actually. I have yet to do anything with them, and they still sit in the little tiny little baggies they come in. And I am ashamed that you are now listening to this in January of 2021. And I guarantee you I probably still have not touched them.
Hi, everyone. My name is Molly. I play Alessandra, your favorite resident chaotic dumbass, who is a Dompier rogue. Low down on the appearance. Black hair, 2 different colored eyes, one red, one violet. She's pale, she's thin, she has fangs. She is from a splinter faction of Blood Sisters. And yeah, that's it. That's her.
Hi everybody, my name is Morgan. I play Vesper Aurvandall, human cleric of Twilight, disciple of Celestian. Vesper is 6'2", blonde hair, white streaks, about 200 pounds or so, 250 with her armor on, as we have figured out the past few episodes. Fun fact about myself, if you have not noticed since the last episode, is I live near train tracks. So if you ever hear loud train sounds, it's probably me.
Guys, my name is Mikhayla. I play Nemmy Nemesis. She is a Tiefling Ranger. I've given so many physical descriptions of her. I'm sure you can imagine her in your head by now, especially getting to know her very shy personality. And she also has a companion, Waffles. I mentioned him. And he stays in her satchel bag. And he is very grumpy. So they are definitely a dynamic duo with opposite personalities. And definitely stay tuned to see how Nemmy keeps warming up to the group. And yeah, that's about it for her.
Alright, when we left off, you guys had just gotten to the top of the stairs of this wooden spiral staircase. You see, this landing leads down another hallway. It is dark and the floorboards creak loudly. There are doors on each wall. The wooden staircase does continue to spiral upwards.
Is Nemmy ahead of Vesper on the stairs?
Yes.
He's gonna look back at Vesper and give Vesper a thumbs up. Nemmy being supportive.
Vesper gives a very half-hearted thumbs up back to her. Very slowly, too, like...
There's still a creak from your roll last session. There's still a creak when you move up your arm.
Oh dear. Do we... Well, so is this... We're not in the basement, because the basement had the little storm door leading down. And then I'm guessing we were just on the first floor, so now we're on the second floor, so Agnis might be here. Are there the same amount of doors as there were on the floor below us?
Yes, there are 4. And as you hesitate and look around, you hear snickering, laughter, echoing up and down the hall, but you can't place where the voices are coming from.
Alessandra, tell if it's maybe a child laughing, a woman, a man.
You can give me an intelligence check to see if you know.
Yeah, no, that's a crit fail.
It is honestly the scariest laughter you've ever heard, and you have no idea what type of creature could ever make a sound like that.
No, it doesn't sound human.
You don't really know.
Bummer.
Nemmy's gonna look really scared. Eyes are about to be popping out of her head. She's almost going to cower against the stairs.
Tulip is going to grip her hand axe, ever so more determined to continue on, and she starts to walk forward into the hallway.
Alessandra is going to put her hand on her shoulder as she passes by and say, "Wait."
Give me a dex against her dex.
Oh god. Nat 20! I go from crit fail to nat 20!
This has been a wild episode start for you. Yeah, so you are able to grab Tulip before she can continue walking. But you certainly do notice that she tried to evade your grasp.
As she grabs Tulip's shoulder, she's going to say, "Do you remember what happened with the spiders, or do I need to remind you?" And she gestures back at Vesper to kind of remind her that she's partially the reason why Vesper got paralyzed. Hey, if she hadn't taken over running after that will-o-wisp, we wouldn't have been in that problem, would we? I don't say that out loud. I just kind of shoot her a look like, "Do you remember what happened last time?"
Tulip will stand down, but she gives you a glare like you've never seen before.
To whisper to her, "We're going to help Agnis. We just can't run into this unprepared."
She does not respond.
Clearly, Tulip is angry. So I think we should maybe go with our original plan, and she's going to turn back and she's going to say, "This is where we last saw Agnis. Everybody take a door, leave them open. Put something so it does not close in the doorway."
Nemmy is going to look extremely frightened. She doesn't want to go into the door by herself. Scared.
Is she going to tell us this?
Yeah, she's going to say, guys, I can't go in there. I can't.
Alessandra's going to nod and say, "Fine. Vesper, Tulip, you take that door. Me and Nemmy will take this door." And then she's going to point to the first 2 doors on either side of us.
Okay, so the closest door is immediately to your right, and then the next closest doors are directly across from each other, but they're about halfway down the hall. So your guys' pick of which 2 go where.
Wherever. I think Tulip will probably be the first to claim a door.
If no one else is going to, Tulip is going to march for the first door in the middle of the hallway on the left.
Vesper, you go with her.
I follow behind her, yes.
And then Alessandra and Nemmy are going to take the next door over.
We'll stay with Alessandra and Nemmy first. Do you
All right.
do anything first, or do you just open the door?
We do not open the door. Alessandra is going to hold her hand up to Nemmy, and she's going to press her ear against the door, see if she hears anything inside, like maybe rustling or scratching or something. Gabby, I don't like that look on your face. I don't like that look on your face. What are you planning?
Nothing, I was just going to say that she was going to lean in as well, like she was trying to hear.
So perception,
Give me a perception roll as well.
2. So that's a 15 for Alessandra.
But 16 for now.
So you both lean in, listen real closely, and neither one of you hears anything moving or talking, or in the disembodied laughter you hear or heard definitely is not coming from this room.
Okay. Does the door appear to be locked?
No.
Okay. In that case, Alessandra is going to open it.
So you open it to see a smaller room with quaint seating and 2 windows that look out onto the back garden.
Nemmy's going to walk in.
Alessandra's going to be right behind her.
So the 2 of you walk in. What do you inspect or look at?
Nemmy's gonna see if there's any valuables in there. Anything that she can maybe take that isn't cursed.
Alessandra's thing. She's gonna watch Nemmy do this, and she's gonna be like, dang it, maybe next time. But,
Nemmy, give me your investigation check as you start to look around.
15.
So you walk around the room, you pick up like the decorative pillows, look underneath, check under the cushions of the seating, the little table, you look in the drawer that's in it. Nothing really seems to be of note. This seems to just be an empty sitting room of some sort, and no one keeps anything in.
As Nemmy's looking around, she's gonna say quietly, Alessandra, I don't think anything's there.
she's going to step into the middle of the room, and she's going to inspect all 4 walls to see if maybe she sees any irregularities, because she knows rich people like to hide their shit.
Give me an investigation check as well.
Investigation is 16, 17, 18, 19, dirty 20!
So you inspect the walls closely, looking at the wallpaper, and you kind of notice that the wallpaper is slightly disturbing the pattern on it, because it looks like, you know, the basic floral, like, repeating pattern, but when you get up closer, you can see that the flowers look like they're decaying, like the wallpaper was already designed to look like the flowers were decaying. Not only is the wallpaper, like, peeling off and aged and all that, but something either altered what the wallpaper looks like, or someone purchased very macabre decor.
She's going to take a cursory glance around the room to see if there might be anything we might have missed. And if there's not, we're going to head out.
We'll cut to Tulip and Vesper. Tulip walks up to the door.
She's just blatantly going for the door?
Well, she's about 1 foot away from the door, and you're, like, right behind her.
Okay. I put my hand on her shoulder, putting my hand on her shoulder just as a take it easy as we go for this door kind of thing. Do we hear any noises coming from the room?
She does slow and agrees to caution. Give me a perception check, please, and she will do the same.
Cool beans. 17.
I forgot she's got a -1 to perception.
No, Tulip.
So she pushes her ear against the door and she says, I don't hear anything, do you? And Vesper, you very clearly hear that wicked laughter coming from behind this door.
I will say to her, yeah, I hear the laughter. I don't think we should go in there. I definitely think we need to go get Alessandra and Nemmy.
She scrunches her nose at you and says, You really think we need them? They're busy in another room. They got their own issues.
The last time I fought, I was incapacitated, though. I don't trust
Better
myself.
this time. I trust you.
I know you do, but I would feel a lot better if they were here with us. Even if we just send whatever's in there after them, you know?
I mean, I think it'd be pretty comical if we use Alessandra as bait.
Exactly. So maybe we go check the other door or wait for them. Hearing the laughter, though, can I tell anything about what might be behind the door?
You may roll intelligence.
Okay. Not smart.
Wait now.
It's fine. That's a 2.
That is the scariest laughter you've ever heard. You definitely don't want to go through that door.
Chill runs down my spine, and I just pull Tulip away a little bit.
I will give you the opportunity to choose one of the other 2 doors. Since they're investigating, like, moving stuff around, they would not have come out of their room yet.
Okay, so this was the door first on the right?
The left.
The
So you
left.
have the door directly across from it, or you have the one at the end of the hall.
Let's go to the one directly across from this one, and listen at that door too.
Give me a perception check.
Keeping an eye and ear out on the other door if it decides it wants to open. Oh, baby! That was another natural 20!
What?
Nice.
So 24 total.
Tulip got a 2, -1, make it that
Oh.
1. So she pushes her ear against it, doesn't even, like, fully listen, backs away, and she says, Come on, can't we just go into a door? There's nothing behind this. I'll believe you about the other one, but there is nothing behind this one.
Is there any noise coming from behind this one?
You hear nothing.
Well, I don't hear anything behind this one too, but there might be something we can find useful back there before we go get the one with the laughter.
Okay, fine. Can we go through this door then?
Yes, I will try the door. Is it unlocked?
It is unlocked.
Okay. Very quietly, open it.
You open the door and you see a spacious room with stunning wooden floors. You think this room looks a little odd where it is, but it's very beautiful. You think it'd be a good place to host parties. That is until you notice the dried blood on the floor. The trail leads to the piano on the southern wall of the room. And as your eyes get to the piano, another specter appears and begins to play an eerie tune. And Tulip just kind of looks at you like, there was nothing in this room, huh?
I didn't hear it. I just look at her. I didn't. Like below a whisper. I'm barely even mouthing the words to her. I didn't hear that.
Once a couple notes of the eerie song plays, something darker and more powerful, something more frightening than just a specter before you, starts to form behind it on the piano. And also, Alessandra and Nemmy, you hear piano playing in the room next to you.
I gently closed the door.
So you close yourselves in the room?
No. We didn't go into the room yet. We were just looking into it.
Okay.
I just closed the door and grab Tulip by the arm and I pull her over to the door where Nemmy and Alessandra went in. And when I get there, I say, I need you guys now.
And Tulip's gonna say, yeah, Alessandra, go in that room.
Tulip, no.
We're all gonna go in it, aren't we?
Yes, we're all going in.
I'm just telling her to go first. She's been leading this whole time.
To preface this, so she's not going in blind. The first door we went to had the laughter behind it. The second door has something forming with a piano, so...
I was gonna say, can we just assume that the piano is playing Danse Macabre?
It's playing Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies, actually.
That's clearly much more sinister.
Alessandra narrows her eyes and looks at Tulip and thinks, I'm not gonna hit a child. I'm not gonna hit a child. I'm not gonna hit a child.
Nemmy is gonna tilt her ear out towards where the piano music is coming from, and she is going to say out loud but quietly, I wish I knew how to play the piano. I love the piano. It's so nice. You guys hear that?
How does she always do this? She makes everything sad. It's supposed to be scary, Nemmy.
Alessandra very slowly turns to face Nemmy and says, if you hear music in a house that's supposed to be empty save for one person, and there are two things that aren't that person in the house with the piano playing, you shouldn't be thinking about piano.
It sounds okay.
I'll turn to Nemmy and say, we'll put a pin in that one too. And then lead everybody over to the door, because that is a very pressing matter right now.
Do you go in?
Real quick, I'll say, so whatever it is, there's something playing the piano, and then there's something forming out there, and there's also blood on the floor and stuff, so just, we good. And I'll open the door. Wait.
Alessandra's
the
gonna
door.
look through.
She opens the door.
Alessandra's gonna look through the keyhole first.
Nope. You start to
As the door gets open.
Yeah, it just bonks you right in the face. You got a little bit of a red mark on your nose now.
Bad enough to satiate Tulip, the sadistic bitch.
When you do stand upright, you do see a little bit of a smirk on Tulip's face. And she walks into the room.
Once again, she thinks, I will not hit a child, and she walks in behind Tulip.
So you see the same scene with the blood leading up to the piano, except for this time, you see the entity that was summoned by this song. It looks a little bit more like...
It looks like the Nogsul. Lovely. Great. Hey guys, we're dealing with some ring wraiths.
So for the audio podcast, because this is an audio podcast and they can't see the picture I just put in, they see this dark gray, ethereal, wispy and smoke being floating above the grand piano that the specter is still playing. So you have this lovely ambiance of eerie piano music. The dark, ethereal being's golden, shining eyes turn towards you as you walk back into the room. And, ooh, it can speak. Its menacing glare meets you. It starts to come towards you, floating above the ground, and it says, "I'm quite thirsty, and I just found something to drink." And it is going to lunge at... Let me make a decision. It's going to lunge at Tulip. I rolled a die for that. That was random. So it lunges for Tulip. Basically, it's whatever smoke is its hands surrounds her shoulders and starts to try to suck the life out of her. That is just enough to hit her armor class. So you watch as Tulip's life force starts to drain out of her into this thing. Oof. Okay. And a lot of her vitality just drains out of her. And that will take us into initiative again.
Maybe I should have just left the door closed. Terrible.
Terrible.
Not bad.
We could try to reason with it, but I don't think it wants to be reasoned with.
Nemmy, when the thing picked up Tulip and said that he was thirsty, he's gonna say out loud but low to herself, "What a jerk. Could have given him some water, not Tulip."
And with that, initiative rolls, did anyone get a 20 to a 25? 15 to a 20?
Got a 16.
16? 10 to 15?
11.
5 to 10? 0 to 5. All right, Alessandra, really bringing up the rear today. So the first to go is the specter who is playing the piano currently. The specter ceases to play the piano. Is going to fly at Nemmy.
Oh.
And it very much does the same thing. It reaches out towards you. It has more of like a bluish purple tinge to like the smoke and ethereal, ways of a ghost as it tries to grasp onto you. That is going to be a 14.
It just barely hits. Her armor class is 13.
Alright then.
Oh,
It
no.
starts to drain your life away. You take... Oof. You're going to take 15 necrotic damage, and I need you to make a Constitution saving throw. And I realized I did not make that for Tulip, so I'm going to roll that as well. Tulip is fine.
Oh, 4.
So you failed. Your hit point maximum is reduced to the damage that you took. So you can't heal more than whatever you just lost.
You're screwed.
Right.
Quite. Not quite. Hang on. You said these guys deal necrotic damage, correct?
At least the Spectre has. Or yeah,
Okay.
and the Wraith has. You would have noticed. You would probably recognize necrotic damage, especially as a Dompier.
Partially undead person. Yes. I don't think there's really anything I can do until my turn, so.
So that is its turn. The Wraith is up next. So it has Tulip. So it's just gonna reach its hands out and grab Tulip again. That is just enough to hit her armor class. Oof. Okay.
We can't lose her. We cannot lose her.
With that, Tulip's not looking good at all, and she's got to make her Constitution saving throw. She failed. So she looks weakened just perpetually, and you don't think even if you get to her and can get her away from it and heal her, that she won't heal back to her original HP. That will take us to Nemmy.
She doesn't even really know what to do at the moment. She's gonna yell, "Guys, I don't know what to do. He said he's thirsty. I just don't understand. What do we do? Help!"
You can reply. You have like a sentence you can say back to her.
Alessandra is going to take a very quick look at these two things and see if she recognizes them. and see if she knows anything about them, as her experience as a partially undead person who also just so happens to worship a partially evil goddess.
You can roll that on your turn. The only advice you can give would be what knowledge you would have now, which obviously you haven't rolled yet.
She's going to say, hang on, don't be afraid.
So what does Nemmy actually do?
Nemmy is going to take her hand axe. Can she reach her hand axe, or is she too
You can reach it.
bound up? Okay. She's gonna reach her hand axe and try to slash at it. Even though it's a ghost, it's Nemmy. She's gonna try to slash at the ghost.
Okay. Make your attack roll.
Got 20.
Ooh, you crit, so double the damage on your dice.
Nice. I don't think I've used my hand axe. Maybe only a few times. I don't think I have. Have I?
I don't remember you
Yeah.
doing that, but I
Either.
could be wrong.
9. A damage.
So again, since it doesn't really have a form, you do slash through it, it does do damage, but it's not as much as you're expecting, especially with how critical of a hit that would have been if that was a regular humanoid you were fighting. That will take us to Tulip, who can't really run away from this thing, so I suppose she's going to stare this overlooming shadowy figure down that has sucked most of her life away and say, "For someone who's so thirsty, you sure do suck at drinking." And that it needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
Looks sassy.
It fails, so it's gonna take some vicious mockery damage, which admittedly isn't a whole lot, but since it's magic damage, it takes all of it. So you see that in its eyes, that insult that Tulip just threw, that hurt. That hurt a little bit. That stung. Man was thirsty, and she just insulted his ability to drink her, which sounds a little weird, but I set up this analogy. It's all my fault. And then that will be Tulip's turn. That will take us to Vesper.
Vesper immediately brings the end of her warhammer down into the ground and will channel Divinity Twilight Sanctuary.
Okay.
So everybody within 30 feet of her at the end of their turn can now roll 1d8 temporary hit points or end an effect causing it to be charmed or frightened. And then she is going to cast... This is where I'm not sure what to do. I don't know if it's better to attack or to heal Tulip. Tulip looks bad, correct?
I was gonna say, you can make a perception roll to see if you could judge for yourself how bad she looks compared to what you should do.
Okay, I will. 24. Natural 20.
I'm gonna go ahead and
24.
tell you what she's at. She's at 7. Do
Okay.
observation with what you will.
I'll heal her. I will cast Cure Wounds. We'll do... Or not Cure Wounds, sorry. Healing Word on her. For that, so let me roll that. That'll be 6 hit points back to her.
She looks a little rejuvenated.
Okay. And then I'm going to be rolling my temporary hit points, which is 1d8. I'll take it. And that is the end of Vesper's turn.
After Vesper, it is Alessandra.
Sandra is going to steel her nerves. She's going to glance over at an empty wall, and she's going to say under her breath, "If you could help me at any time, now would be the time." And then she's going to look back over at the 2 specters, and she's going to raise her voice, and she's going to say, "My name is Alessandra Scratch. I am the daughter of Matthias Nightworth, a vampiric elder on the High Council. You will kneel before me or face his wrath."
Make an intimidation check.
No fucking way. No fucking way. That's a nat 20 plus 4 modifier.
So, the specter that's in front of Nemmy immediately backs away from her. Does not quite kneel to you, but at least isn't acting directly hostile. The big shadowy guy, he slowly backs away from Tulip, but stares you down menacingly, as if you're now its new drink.
He glares at this wraith, and she bares her fangs and says, "Stay back or face the wrath of the Nightworth clan."
Give me one more persuasion check.
Persuasion or intimidation?
Or intimidation.
Okay. Okay, so that is a 17. 21.
The big bad guy who just wants a drink backs off at the level that the specter does and bows its head.
She's going to look at them. She's going to step close. So she's almost in their face, and she's going to say, "Who are you, and what do you want?"
So this will take us out of initiative, by the way, for everyone else.
Oh god.
The big bad guy is going to say, "I was once the house steward of Briarfog." And he just looks over at the specter beside him, and he says, "And this was one of the hall boys."
The look on her face isn't going to falter. She is going to stare them down with her fangs partially bared, and she's going to say, "Why are you here?"
Give me an intimidation check again.
Please let me keep this good roll streak up. Okay, so that's 16, 17, 18, 19. Dirty 20!
He bows his head even lower and says, "The young master ended our lives unfairly, and thus we are cursed to haunt this land."
Sandra is going to keep that look on her face, and she's going to say, "Are you speaking of Agnis Briarfog?
He shakes his head slowly.
Who has done this to you?"
The wraith and the specter look at each other, and then back at you. The specter poofs out of existence, but the wraith remains, and he says, "You'll find out soon enough." And then he fades away.
Alessandra's going to turn around, she's going to look at Tulip and kneel down and grab her face, hold it in between her hands, and say, "Are you okay?" And she's going to lift her head and turn it side to side to make sure there's no visible marks, make sure that she can't see any evidence of any necrotic damage that will last, because she recognizes that. Is Tulip okay?
No. You would immediately recognize this both because you witnessed it happen to both Nemmy and Tulip, but just because you also know about these things, that Tulip has been drained where you don't think she can get up to probably more than half, if you were to guess, of her usual life force until she takes a long rest. And then when you look over at Nemmy, knowing that she also got hit, you'd probably guesstimate a little less so for her, but still the same. She's not going to be able to get back to full health unless both of them rest.
Can either of them stand on their own?
They're not completely incapacitated. Nemmy's definitely, I'm assuming, probably looks better than Tulip because she didn't take as many hits as she did. They're just not as strong as they used to be. They're a little bit more gaunt, a little bit more slower to walk.
Alessandra's going to help both of them stand.
Nemmy is gonna look at Alessandra and say, "Thank you. I feel really tired. Let me rest. That guy was scary."
Alessandra's going to sigh, and she's going to say, "I know he was, but it's not safe to stay here."
Where's Agnis? Where is she?
Sandra frowns, and she's going to say, "He didn't say. He left before I could get any more information out of him."
We saw her in the window. She just disappeared.
Alessandra sighs, and she's going to say, I wish I knew, Nemmy. I wish I knew what to tell you, but I don't know where Agnis is."
Well, we tried, didn't we? I think we should find a safe spot for the night. I think Tulip and I need to rest.
Alessandra nods, and then she's going to suggest they go back into the sitting room and see if they can get a little bit of their energy back, and she's going to sit up in case she has to throw some names around again. just to guard them while they rest.
So as you start to try to lead them into the sitting room, Tulip starts to say, "We we can't waste time. What if she's not dead yet? We have to keep going."
Alessandra's gonna glance over at Vesper and shoot her a look, saying, "What do you think we should do?"
Tulip looks over at you, Vesper, before you respond with these big, pleading eyes, and she says, "We might be too late if we wait. Please, Vesper."
While they were talking, Vesper was thinking. When we saw who we assumed to be Agnis get snatched from the window, where was she? Could we assume what floor she was on?
You definitely know it was the second floor.
Was the second floor.
So from where you guys were, you would guess the window she was looking out of would have been in the room where the laughter's coming from.
That was my next thought.
Maybe Alessandra should just go, and you
Can we
watch over.
just take 10 minutes? I can heal everybody up, and we can be on our way. Does Tulip look like she can take many more hit points? Like healing her wise, not being attacked wise.
You can make a
I'm
medicine
gonna be checking
check.
her over. Yeah,
Yeah.
check her over. Because I know Nemmy needs healed.
Morgan is doing that. Alessandra is going to say, "Vesper, you stay here and look over them. I'll go."
No, we are not splitting up. That's a dirty 20.
All right, with that, you also recognize the effects of necrotic damage, and you know that she will not be able to heal to whatever her full vitality is, and you think she's might be able to take another cure wounds, but that's going to be about it, and then she's going to be capped for the energy that got expelled from her until she actually just goes to sleep and regains natural healing.
Mm-hmm. I am going to cast first on Nemmy Cure Wounds because I don't think we can waste time. Okay. Nemmy, you take back 12 hit points.
And you can take all those as long as it doesn't go above whatever you lost.
I'm going to touch Tulip and heal her for 3 more.
She gets a little bit of life back in her.
And I'll turn to Alessandra and say, we can't waste any time.
Alessandra nods, and with a very half-hearted, half smile, she says, "What's the verdict, Doc? Think they can come with us?"
I think they just need to stay. They're coming with us, but they need to stay behind us.
She nods, and she walks over to the door where the laughter was coming from, and she's just gonna open it and stride in very confidently.
Nemmy's gonna roll her shoulders back and say, "Thank you, Vesper. So much better already."
I'm glad. Stay behind us. Try and use your bow as much as you can. Try not to get up front.
Got it. Get my bow. I'm gonna reach in her bag and get her bow out and get it ready.
Vesper will then turn to Tulip and say, "You stay behind me, and if anything goes south, you're out the door first."
She nods.
Okay. I follow after Alessandra, who ran ahead.
I hold some sway over these things.
So you all see every wall in this vast room is home to a bookcase. Each shelf is full of tomes of every size. A giant wooden table sits in the middle of it all. Piles of books cover its surface. Disembodied snickers fly around you as a book almost hits one of you.
Alessandra bats it away with her cat-like reflexes. Her fast hands. She has fast hands. And she's going to say, "Show yourself, you coward," and she's going to bare her fangs again.
Okay, make your intimidation check.
14, 15, 16, 17! I'm loving these intimidation rolls.
And with that, these little buggers appear, which I will describe for the podcast in a moment.
Oh no.
Mm-mm. I don't like that scorpion tail.
But they materialize or become uninvisible. You probably recognize the effect that was on them from when Tulip was invisible. They are little red demon looking things, for those listening, with long, sinewy, ripped wings and horns and a scorpion tail. They're flying around, laughing maniacally at you four, and you see another one pick up a book, and it's going to go to throw it at one of you.
Your bats it away again.
We're gonna see if you can. Give me, for this one, give me a dex check to see if you can hit it away before it hits you. And I'll roll for an attack.
Okay, so that is a flat 16.
You just barely whack it out of the way before it hits you.
Alessandra, I believe that I've seen this, and I believe that I've encountered this before. Can Alessandra roll insight maybe, or history to see if she knows what these are?
It would be history. Yeah.
History is not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. Alright, let's see what we got here. Okay, so that is a 19, and I have a +2 to history, so that's 21.
Yes, you do recognize this, and before I describe what it is, what were you going to say, Mikhayla?
I think a good way to describe them is if you've ever seen the one Harry Potter where they're in the classroom and it has those like little fairies that are laughing around and they're like laughing,
Cornish
flying
pixies.
around the room. Yeah, the pixies. They kind of look like that, but little devils with scorpion tails. So for whoever is listening, kind of wanted to imagine that a little bit. That was the first thing that came to my mind.
That's a perfect
It might
way to
help.
describe them.
Yeah, it might help.
So you have encountered these before, Alessandra. These are known as imps. They are little tiny fiends. They're for the most part harmless. They are evil creatures. These ones seem to be a little bit more chaotic in nature, but for the most part, you haven't found them to be too hard to deal with.
I know what language they speak. Can I tell?
I'm gonna say from that role, you know that they speak both common and infernal.
Alessandra knows Infernal! She's going to start speaking Infernal, and she's going to say, "Why are you here?"
The one that threw the book at you last kind of raises an eyebrow at you, or what would be the equivalent of like a scaly like eyebrow raise. Sits down on top of the bookcase. Its friend comes over and sits down next to him and puts like an arm around him. And he replies in Infernal, "We were summoned. Why are you here?"
Interesting.
He
Okay.
already wants to keep one as a pet.
So to Nemmy, Tulip, and Vesper, unless anyone speaks Infernal as well. Okay, Vesper speaks Infernal. Ah, interesting.
I think Nemmy should too, right? As a tiefling?
I think so. Let me double check.
Guess I better double check. Tulip better not be assuming anything.
We all just speak infernal.
So
Yeah.
while we waiting for that, Alessandra narrows her eyes, and at this point, you're going to be expecting it from her. She bares her fangs, and she's going to say, "I ask the questions. Now, who summoned you?" And I'll just go ahead and roll intimidation.
Nemmy speaks Infernal too.
And that is a 16 for intimidation.
So the only one who doesn't understand what's happening is Tulip. So essentially what Tulip hears is what I imagine like kind of like, you know, in basic exorcism movies, horror movies where like the person just starts speaking in tongues and you're like, "Ah, they're possessed by a demon." That's what she hears. But everyone else seems to be understanding except for her, and that's freaking her out. But anyway, what did you get for your intimidation roll? I'm sorry.
16 to intimidate these little fuckers.
The two look at you and say in unison, "We were here first. Why do we have to listen to you?"
They weren't intimidated. Great.
Nemmy talk to them.
Yeah, you can understand and speak back to them.
Nemmy is gonna come forward with still holding on to her bow, and she's gonna say, "Hi guys. What are your guys' names?"
When Nemmy steps forward, they both get visibly excited and they fly down and like hover around her. And the one's like, oh, you're so pretty. Yes, she is pretty. Look at her. She's so pretty. I know she's so pretty. Stop talking about it. And they like hit each other. And the first one who is throwing the book says, my name is Ned. And the other one says, and my name is Ted.
I'm screaming! Oh my god!
And then they ask in unison, and what's your name?
Nemmy is gonna feel very flattered that they called her pretty. And she's gonna look at them and say, lovely names. Very much in unison. My name is Nemmy. Nemmy Nemesis.
Ah, beautiful name! What a blessing to have such a powerful family name!
Oh, powerful family name? What do you mean?
The two look at each other, and then they look back at you. They kind of hover around you in a circle, and they say, oh, she doesn't know. She doesn't know. I can't believe she doesn't know. Oh, she doesn't know. And then they come back and face you again, and they say, you don't know.
No, Ned and Ted. What do you mean?
They look at each other again, and then they look at you, and they say, secrets are fun, aren't they?
For those who are listening, it's very fun to watch.
But oh yes, it does explain the beauty. And then they start playing with your hair. They kind of pull it to both sides, and then they start flying around your horns and almost braid your horns with your own hair.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm sure it looks beautiful, guys. I was wondering if you guys could give me a little bit more information about what you know.
They look at each other and go, and I will describe what I did because they put their fingers to their lips and turn to look at each other and go, I suppose we could be very informative for Nemesis. What would you like to know?
Anything that you can tell me. I really like it when people tell me things that I don't know.
Well, we just met. Yes, we did just met. I'm glad we met, but we did just meet. We don't know what you don't know.
Well, I've been alone my whole life, so I really don't know where I came from.
They look at each other again, and then they look back at you. It is not our place to tell you these answers.
Oh, I see.
And when you get disappointed, they look at each other really quickly, and they have a little pitter-patter between each other in low whispers that you can't really hear. They look back at Nemmy, and they say, we can tell you this. If you go to Saltmarsh, you may find someone who is able to tell you these answers.
Oh, okay. I really appreciate the information, Ned and Ted. It was very nice to meet both of you.
It was very nice to meet you too, pretty lady, pretty Nemesis.
I'm just going to look over at Nemmy, clearly how Ned and Ted favor her, and she's going to say, ask him about, why are they here? And she can lower her voice, she goes, why are they here? Where's Agnis?
Now, Ned and Ted, there might be a question that you really could answer. Why were you guys summoned here? Why this place?
They once again look at each other, and then look back at Nemmy. Their eyes dart over to your friends, and then dart back to you, and then they say, we were summoned. Yes, we were summoned by a great and powerful. Yes, most great and powerful. We would never insult him. He summoned us here to serve him. Yes, to serve him, and served him we have.
I'm sure that you two are doing your jobs most graciously.
Yes, we have. We've done our job quite well. We completed our task. Yes, we did, brother. We completed our task.
Now, once the task is completed, there might be that task. Who summoned you?
Oh, we mustn't say. No, we mustn't say his name. No, we cannot say his name. But he is most powerful, and I am sure you will meet him soon. Oh, yes, he will be very interested in meeting you. And then he looks over your shoulder at Tulip, and they both say, oh, yes, and he'll be very interested in meeting that one as well.
Oh, you mean Tulip? Why Tulip? You guys wouldn't happen to be talking about the Great Winged One, would you?
They look at each other confused. They look back at you, and they say, No, we have not heard of no great winged one. No. There's lots of things that have wings, and they are pretty great, but I would not know of one that goes just by the great winged one. But she has something special about her that he is going to want to see. Yes, he will want to see.
Thank you very much for the information, Ned and Ted. Now, I do just have one more important question.
And that would be?
Do you happen to know where Agnis is?
They look at each other. They get these big grins on their faces. They look back at you and they said, "We did so good. We completed our task. Yes, we did. Yes, we did, brother. We completed our task so good."
Now, Ned and Ted, that task involves Agnis, correct?
They're fly dancing, like celebrating in a way. And they say, as they're dancing around your head, so their voices like surround you in a circle, and they say, "We'll show you. Yes, we'll show pretty Nemesis. We'll show pretty Nemesis everything she wants to see. But only pretty Nemesis. You must come alone. We do not trust your friends." And they stop and glare, like stop midair and glare at Vesper, Tulip, and Alessandra.
Sure, Ned and Ted. I would love if you would show me. As long as nobody else bothers my friends here.
They look at each other, and they look at you and say, "We have no power. No, we do not. We do not have power. You must speak to him if you want to have power. He can control who gets to live and who gets to die, who gets to attack and who gets to not. He gives the tasks and we enact them."
Okay, thank you. I would like to see Agnis.
Yes, we take you to her.
Oh, okay. Is she in this house?
They nod, and then they both go towards your ears and they whisper, like on both sides, one mouth on one ear, one mouth on the other, and they say, "Your friends must leave this room and not return until you exit. They must wait in the hall."
Okay, guys, can you guys go outside into the hall for me, please?
Tulip just looks around at everyone like, what is even happening? You're all speaking in tongues.
Alessandra is going to look over at Tulip and say, "I'll explain. They're going to tell us where Agnes is, but first, we need to get out in the hall. They will only speak to Nemmy. Nemmy alone. They won't hurt her. She'll be fine."
Okay, and Tulip just runs out of the room. What do you two do? Do you leave?
Oh yeah, she steps out with Tulip. She's not leaving her alone.
Vesper, you're hesitating.
I have a great dove moment in me right now. I will roll for it. Tell me, above or below she does it? Which one? Above or below 10?
Above.
Above 10 she does it. Okay. That's an 18. She goes out after Tulip, but so she goes after Tulip before Alessandra leaves. And she's going to go quickly as well, cast invisibility on herself, and as Alessandra is leaving, sneak back in.
Might be able to see you.
No, like so go around the corner kind of a little bit, like outside of the door. Cast invisibility on myself.
Well, can the magical creature see past your invisibility?
Oh, I don't know. But I don't think Vesper would know that, so...
Oh dear. Listeners, buckle up.
If she gets admonished, she'll leave.
I don't think they just admonish you.
So, Ned and Ted scream with glee once your friends are gone. And they twirl and they dance and they're like, "Oh yes, now we show pretty Nemesis." And then they look around the room real serious before they finish the sentence.
Vesper's not breathing.
Since she's invisible and you're not moving, I'm just gonna have them roll and see what happens.
No.
They turn back to Nemmy and they say, "Okay, follow us. It's over here." They lead you to the northernmost wall, and it's just a bookshelf as far as you can tell. They look at it, and then they look at you, and they look really eagerly, putting their little fingers together. "You're going to be so proud of us. We did our task. She'll be so proud. Nemesis will be in with the Nemesis. Is going to be so exciting. We are moving on up in the world, but yes, we are. Anyway." One of them grabs a book, pulls it, and it reveals that the door unhitches itself and opens like a secret doorway. They lead you into the secret doorway, and I assume, Vesper, you're just following very quietly.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give me a stealth check, just a straight one, because you are invisible, but you still got that armor.
Oh, I swear to God.
9. 5. Oh, 5. Okay. So, Nemmy, because Nemmy, you don't know she's in the room either, because you didn't know she was going to do this. All of a sudden, as you start to enter the secret room, you hear a behind you, and the Ned and Ted zoom back out of the room.
I stop. I don't follow them.
They zoom around, but they don't seem to find you. Nemmy, you're probably just confused because you're like, where did that squeaking sound come from? But when you turn back around before they come back into the secret room, you see that it kind of looks like it was probably more of like a panic room situation. There's not much in here other than there's some food that looks like it was preserved to last a longer time because it hasn't rotted a whole lot yet compared to what was in the pantry downstairs. But the main thing your eyes are drawn to, you see Agnis Briarfog, her dead body on the ground. She looks like she had foamed out of the mouth, like there's this dried, gross bile staining her mouth on the floor next to her head. And standing above her is a ghostly form of Agnis, staring down at her own dead body.
Nemmy is going to look extremely shocked, and she's going to look at Ned and Ted and say, "Did you two do this?"
They swoop into the secret room, and they give you big old smiles and says, "We did our test so good." And they look at each other, "Yes, we did, brother, we did our test so good." And that's where we're going to call the episode.
First of all, Nemmy feels like a celebrity. Okay, low-key, she doesn't want to be mad at Ned and Ted. She likes them. I'm serious. She really likes them.
It's an infernal bloodline.
Yeah, well, that, and they're just, even though, they have the little bit of an evil background, but they're literally just following orders, even though it's messed up, and Nemmy knows that. She likes Ned and Ted.
So how is Vesper reacting? Because you don't see this. Just before, because I know we ended, but I'm just curious. You basically just hear her say, "Did you do this?" And them being so proud.
Vesper is up against the wall, just like, she's basically turning purple from not breathing and just listening and having no idea what's going on.
It's going to be an interesting point to pick up on. But any closing statements?
Nemmy definitely has a background that she has zero idea about, but Ned and Ted won't tell her.
They told you where to go.
She likes Ned and Ted.
They told you where to go.
Okay, go to Saltmarsh.
True.
Alessandra was definitely not prepared to drop that name in front of the specters, but oh no. And the whole party heard her drop that name, and I hope they didn't see her look off to the side and mumble under her breath, "A little help would be nice if you can." So, looking forward to see that. And,
well, the others... Oh, keep going.
As my final statement, I would like to say, I've been traumatized.
I was gonna say, while everybody else gets little secrets dropped, Vesper still keeps all of hers.
Names hold power, especially that name that I dropped. We do know about Biscuit, though.
We shall see.
Biscuit the
Vesper's
attacker.
day shall come.
Vesper's day shall come.
But apparently, Nemmy's name holds a lot of weight, too, though. But we just don't know what kind of weight.
We should find out.
I'm very excited.
Watch her come from, an extremely evil, dictatorship, and then there's her so nice and innocent. And
She's like, "I really want to learn how to play the piano one day." And they're, calling mob hits out here.
It's
literally Nemmy. She's so depressing, but yet so lighthearted.
She has such
I
a
don't know how to
life,
explain
I feel
it.
like.
That doesn't that it makes sense though. She's depressing, but she is lighthearted at the same time. It's a good mixture.
Like
But-
Alessandra. I can't believe you did that, Gabby.
What? Killed off Agnis?
Yeah.
These are my goals in life.
The spiciness is very much so picking up. Like, I can already tell that listening to this campaign back, like, each episode, it's just going to get better and better, just, as the campaign goes on. The storyline is super intriguing, so I definitely think people are really want to keep up with it, especially now we're starting to get to the points where it's like, what the hell is happening? I feel like we're slowly going down the rabbit hole, and it's just going to get deeper and deeper, so it's going to be very
Nemmy's father?
interesting.
Who is Nemmy's mother? Why does the name Nemesis have so much weight in the demon world?
Yeah,
Find out next time on.
Probably
Exactly.
not next time, but
But-
find out sometime on Maidens of
Yeah.
Mayhem podcast.
Nemmy this is gonna definitely, it probably could change Nemmy and on her outlooks because she's so used to feeling that she is not important and she's just kind of there. So now if she starts figuring out a little bit about her lineage or where she came from, it might make her feel a little bit more important, which in turn could boost her confidence, which in turn you guys could see a different Nemmy in the future. Who knows?
If y'all don't
So-
die first.
Yeah, if we don't absolutely die, that's fine.
Don't tempt me. I will bring Amelie into
Oh
this.
no.
Morgan's like, I have like 40 backups. I dare you to kill Vesper.
Which one will I torment Gabby with next?
Exactly.
I think I would bring my bard in, the one I constantly talk about, the one that seduced a banshee. So yeah, that was pretty
two
fun.
bards.
Amelie's a bard too.
Oh, 2 bards? Yes!
She's fantastic. That or I'd bring Charlotte in. I think she's a paladin or a fighter.
I'm very concerned for Tulip right now, but I'm very curious to see where this is gonna go. I don't even know, I don't.
Who knows?
Also, Tulip's been so sheltered that she's not necessarily used to these types of things. Hustle and bustle of the outside world, so she's really going to have to deal with a lot of things. We're going to have to try our best to coach her through those things, but she's just going to be traumatized. Like, I don't know what to say.
Maybe we should give her some grief counseling before we move on.
Yeah. She's essentially a 14-year-old satyr. That's a lot of...
Who knew so much plot would fit in such like a compact little space of the world?
That was like 10 minutes, and it was like, oh!
Just like, this episode's gonna be like an hour long, and like total time where we started the episode was probably at most 20 minutes in game.
Yeah.
Like, that's wild. We're gonna be famous for being 5-footers. 5-footer episodes.
Yeah.
I am shooketh.
Thank you for listening to the Maidens of Mayhem podcast. I'm Gabby Blackwater, the Dungeon Master of this show. Remember to stay until the end for a blooper from this episode. The next episode of Maidens of Mayhem will air on Wednesday, February 10th. Join us to find out what the entire group does after learning of Agnis Briarfog's death. For behind the scenes and memes, follow us on Instagram at Maidens of Mayhem Pod, and follow us on Twitter at Maiden Mayhem Pod to appease the entity that loves to make fun of us. The fantastic music featured in this episode is all thanks to Shane Ivers at silvermansound.com. The songs in this episode, as they appeared, are as follows: Voyage of Discovery, Fated Dream, and The Fall of Heroes. Links to these songs are provided in the description and are free to use under the Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 International License. Once again, the next episode of Maidens of Mayhem will come out on Wednesday, February 10th. Thanks for listening, and see you all here again next month.
And she's gonna say out loud in a low tone.
Sorry, I took a Snapchat.
That's so
She
funny.
makes the camera shutter noise.
As soon as I said
Oh my
she's gonna,
Oh my
and then you
god.
hear,
Hello, Lefty. You scared the shit out of me. I'm so sorry. I moved my leg and something touched it and I was like,
yeah,
excuse you, sir.
I'm distracted. I'm distracted by Lefty right now. I'm not
So
even
am
gonna
I.
lie.
He has been trying to attack. And he succeeded in climbing
Look
up.
at his Swiffer tail. I just want to fucking mop a floor with the tail.
I love it.
He was like, you are not
so
ignoring
fluffy.
me. I will climb whatever way I need to.
So fluffy.
I love how he was probably just a little trash can boy, and then he ended up in. My son is meowing. He knows I'm talking about another cat. Ollie.
Little trash can boy.
Trash.
Millie's the dumpster queen. That's all I have to say.